Hello power users, Zbigniew Lukowski here, and in today's tutorial I want to talk about IfError function. This is the function in Powerapps which you can use to either notify user about errors or just try to create some logic when your application fails. For example, you can grab and log something. I will talk about syntax of this function. I will talk about problem with mismatching the type. I will tell you the differences between onerror and IfError function. I will talk broadly about IsError and also about FirstError message and Allerror table. So let's get ourselves going. Zbigniew Lukowski in, and let's start. I'm already inside my Power App, which I've created for IT conference, and we will start real slow. To do this, let's create ourselves a button, and on this button we will set a variable and create IfError function. So first of all, let's start with setting the variable. So on select, let's go with set variable error test button. I have no imagination today. Let's start with the 0 because now I want to insert a classic text label, and in this text label let me get the value of this variable up. This is here. Okay, so it should be 0, great. Now I want to create an IfError logic. So remember, don't use it outside of your function like this. Don't do it. Let's do it inside our function. So we will set the value here, and on IfError, we want to do some logic. Now we've already opened IfError value. And as you can see here, IfError has the value. So I want to now do the most simple task and write a number, which is 0, then the fallback. So if 0 generates an error, which it cannot because it's just a number, I want to notify error, and notify type will be error. Cool. Okay. So let's close some parentheses. Let's format our text. And let's see what happened. Nothing. Nothing happened because the value was checked and there was no error. So let me get back to the structure. This value is the value we are checking for the error. If the error is generated, then we are notifying the user. But if it doesn't, we have a third argument, which can be a value you want to set. But we already set this value in the value we were just checking. So if there is no third argument, the IfError will return the value. This is cool. This is normal. Okay, so let's test now with obvious error. So IfError this will be sorry, not 0 for 1, but 1 divided by 0, of course. So this will generate error. As you can see, the data type is error already. And let's see what happens. Yeah, the notification was pressed. That's great. That's the thing we just want to have. But we got our variable valued to 1. And this is what it's called mismatched type. This is fairly complicated topic, so I will just simplify it by telling you that when error appears in the value, the result of this if error, so in our case, the variable which we are setting, will try to get to the first type which it saw. So, for example, we are using numbers. So the value of our variable should be a number. But what we have in there, we have a notify, and notify will not is not a number, but it can generate value, because if it was actually visible and by the user and the function run, this was true. So if I press the exclamation mark, which will reverse the value of the notify, which will reverse the value, this one, the notify will still run. Let me show you. But the exclamation mark in the front changed the value of the boolean to 0, and this is called coercion of types, and you can investigate it further if you like to make your knowledge more advanced, but we will leave it here. You need to know that this can happen, and you can prevent this. Actually, you can, for example, in this situation, I want just not to show the value of my my variable. So I will just blank it. Cool. Let's see. Run it. There is a blank. Let's change this. And let's go to our variables to test, to check it. Variable error test button value number blank. So the type still remains number, and it was blanked. Okay, so a little more about syntax, because this value is tested. Then it will generate error. I've used the semicolon to get next function on the fallback side. But if I will leave it and press the comma, then I have another value, and it can be again tested to if error. So let me go and test it here. I have another fallback, and I will notify error to notification type will be error. So let's see what happened now. Okay, so let's play it. And as you can see, still error was generated, even though the next value is also generating an error, but the notification should be error too. Why is that? It is that because this if error follows the same principles as the if then else regular function. So if this value if is true, and true means generated error, then do this. Else, check this. But if the notification already was pushed, there will be no second evaluation of the other function. So it means that this will be completely ignored and nothing will happen if there is an error. But there is a small change with the coercion of the types and mismatch, which I told you. Without this else function, the value of the set variable was 1, right? But now it's blanked. I have no absolute idea why this is happening, but it's worth notifying. So I won't investigate further because I would probably spend a lot of time on this, but in order to avoid this problem, let's go with the semicolon, and I will just set a value on this like 5. Just to avoid the blank. Okay, so we have already told about if, already told about the else part, and already told about the then part. So basically, we can also create an IsError function in Powerapps. So IsError is the Boolean value which will return true or false based on the statement under test. So let me show you this. IsError 1 divided by 0 up. So this is error. This is set to the Boolean, which is true. And let's check it. It became true. This value was checked. But don't try to use and create if IsError then function. Just use IfError. So basically, a real-life example which I want to give you. Sometimes you are patching something to the database. For example, you are creating a master record, then another record, then another record. And if the master record failed, then all the other patches may create a record which is a sort of a child for this record. Of course, if there is a relationship, it will throw an error. But if you are, for example, logging something and you are not having any connection between master record and the subrecords, then the subrecord will be created. And this is a real life-threatening issue in your app. Remember, you should have IfError in place to prevent it. So in order to do this, you will just go IfError, then patch, then notify error, and then if there is no error, go with the logic and test the next logic. So create new patch. So this will prevent you from creating a sub-records of the master record. This is really worth notifying. This is so common and so problematic in many of their applications. I couldn't even start to naming those applications I've already saw which had the same problem. This is important, guys. Remember. Okay. So IsError, mismatch, syntax, values of the true, if then else was already told. What else we have? In the IfError function, we will get a table of the errors. So by using all errors, let me show real quick what we can do with this. So if I'm using the IfError function, for example, and I can generate more than one error, to do this, I will use the function concurrent, which is a function that lets you execute multiple formulas at the same time. So if your formulas does not connect and there is no logical connection between them, you can execute them at the same time to save some time. So I have two functions in the concurrent and they both fail. Then what I want to do is I want to create a collection from all errors, because all errors will generate me a table. So I want to collect. Let's go with the clear collect. And collection all errors. Yep. And then I want to use the all errors function. Hop, hop, close the parentheses. Let's check what happens. Up. Let's go to our collections. Collection all errors. View table. We've got one error on this. Valid operation divide by 0. Okay. I forget that I did not create a subtraction. So let's go back. And as you can see, we have all the details about the error. We have a kind, this is the type. We have the message, so we can grab all those messages for example, for a logs. We have a control in which the error was observed and the source. So this is all errors, and it creates a table. And you can also use the first error. So for this, we will just use the simple notify. Notify. We have the text, so let's go with first error. And let's see. In the first error, as you can see, we have the same data types. So we can, this is the first record, and then you have the columns which you can of course throw in the notify. So I will use the message up. I will use the error notification type up, close this, check it. Invalid operation division by 0. So now you have the notification type. You can use some more complicated messages than this by using, for example, let's go with the text. Let's go with the error, hop, close this, then use the end notification message, then use the another end, then again text and on. I have no imagination today, so sorry for this. Another end and first error dot observed. So let's see what happens now. As you can see, we have the error message, we have observed on, and this is our button canvas one on select. This is our function. Of course, this is technical, so end user won't need it, but you will need it for the testing. It will help you. You can also use monitor, which I strongly suggest. The monitor is here, and it will display all the functions and all the errors you can get. We are already having multiple errors. Great. Okay, cool. We now, I think, know all about IfError, all errors table, first error records, the structure of IfError, mismatched types, the if then else structure. So you know that only the first condition is evaluated. If it's true, then second will be not evaluated. What else? Okay, I will also create a function, a video about onerror function. For now, you just need to know that IfError errors are handled, and onerror will only work for unhandled errors, so it may break if you are using IfError, but more on that in the appropriate video. If you don't see it in the recommend, you probably need to search my channel. And yeah, that's it. Hope this was informative and hope I helped you with something. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I'm more than happy to reply. And Zbigniew Lukowski out. Have a great day. Watch my other 100 videos about Powerapps. See you.